Good morning and a very warm welcome to this session on women in R&D. This is organized as part of NERC 2022 and it is an attempt by the organizers to connect or bring in and recognize efforts made by women in the sector of R&D. Government of India has taken various steps to encourage women in the field of science and technology. There are special schemes that are announced by Department of Science and Technology. And the objective of this panel is to discuss, to identify the route map to uplift the percentage of women, or rather engage more women in the R&D sector, precisely for the fact that in institutes like R&D, in the student ratio, the female ratio is still very low. Now, as academicians, it is not that it is for the or rather as scientists, we have had a very rich heritage or history of women's participation, starting from Madame Curie, or maybe even before that, the Indian mathematician Gargi. But after the setting in the modern era too, as early as in 1886, we had Anandibai Gopal Rao Joshi, who graduated in Western medicine from the first medical school in the world, the Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania. We had Janaki Ammal, who was the first Indian scientist to receive the Padma Shri Award in 1977. And she went to occupy a very reputed post of the Director General of the Botanical Survey of India. And she pursued scientific research in cytogenetics. And her work on cell behavior and phytogeography is still very well recognized. So we can go on with a number of these achievers who are women who have made it or made their presence felt by their commitment to research which leads to development, to human welfare. Kamala Sohini, she was the first, she was Professor C.V. Raman's student, and she discovered what is called cytochrome C, which was involved in the oxidation of all plant cells. We had the Indian chemist Asima Chatterjee, again Rajeshwari Chatterjee. We can go on, and I'm sure in today's discussion our panelist will be able to introduce us to many more. So women have been always there, but reasons which are very or rather situation, the context that is there, the gender divide, which is increasing day by day. When I say this, what I mean is that in the ancient society, we are not very sure if the gender divide had existed, the gap was so wide. But maybe after the institutions of modernity were born, what we can find is when there was competition, sharing of resources, what was happening was also a policy of exclusion, which was required or rather imposed upon by the ones who were in power, who were deciding positions. And slowly we can see that mainly in the 1800s, 1900s, though the women I all mentioned were from the 1800s, the 1900s, were getting excluded. And that is when the main challenge came, That is when it was made very, or rather it was very much visible that the women were missing. And today in that context, when we have reasons to feel what is called challenged, or there's a huge concern in society regarding this, we find that government across the world, starting from attempts made by world organizations like the UN, to the Department of Science and Technology in India, and various others, have made the space available to women to come forward and work in environments which do not, or rather they don't succumb to pressures of society, which are real, which are not very friendly. And in that, or rather, to begin this session, this is what we would like to discuss. We would like the audience, if some of you could come forward, because it would be nice if the audience could participate in the discussions. We can have questions to our panelists. Because women in the field of science and technology, is it something which needs to have a special reference in a conclave like Northeast Research Conclave, where the requirement of it was felt by the organizers, so that we could bring out a sort of a white paper, or maybe out of this session, an opinion that how it is an issue of concern, and also it is an issue which needs to be addressed, but at the same time it is also an issue, or rather women have always been present in R&D. It is just the recognition that is required. We have been always there, serving the society, doing research with passion, with commitment. But the recognition which comes in the way of getting awards is one type of recognition, but recognition which comes as it extends beyond getting awards to the welfare of society, to development. It becomes very important that we become this very indispensable part of research and development activities. When I say we, I mean women of India. So as panelists, a warm welcome to the panelists. We have a very distinguished group of 4 panelists. Professor Chitralekha Mahanta from Department of IITGuwahati. She is also a Dean of Academic Affairs. So besides being an academician, she is also an administrator, very efficient administrator. We look up to her for all types of, for encouragement, for motivation. We have Preeti Kumari, Assistant Commissioner Kamrup, who is one of our organizers of the Assam Biotech event, which is happening parallelly, and that's how she is one of the facilitators of such R&D activities. We have somebody practicing R&D, Dr. Swapnali Hazarika. She is from NEIST, the institute in Jorhat. She is a principal scientist from there. Dr. Sujata Chaklanavis, if you were there in the hall. Okay, I am not very sure if she has arrived. She is just now not here. She was also a participant. She's Scientist G from Department of Science and Industrial Research. So we would like to begin with a very formal welcome of the panelists. Would like to request the volunteers for the brief felicitation program that we had planned. So, yeah. Yeah, just keep following. Come more. Yeah. Srimati Preeti Kumari, Assistant Commissioner, Kamrup. Dr. Swapnali Hazarika, Principal Scientist, CSIR, NIST, NEIST, Jorhat. So now I would like to call upon our panelists to begin the discussion. We haven't decided on the format in the sense of because it is a discussion that we want to have. But to initiate the discussion, I would like to request Professor Chitralikha Mahanta to give her brief comments on the topic and the issue of the event today.
Respected Professor Sukanya Sharma, HOD, HSS Department, Dr. Swapnali Hazarika, Principal Scientist, NEIST, Jorhat, respected Srimati Preeti Kumari, IAS, Assistant Commissioner, Kamrup, and ladies and gentlemen. Today, one important topic has been decided for discussion in this session. Women in research and development. So, in research and development, when we talk about the women participation, actually before that, I would like to bring in, I would just like to recall, not only in R&D or only in research and development, what is the participation percentage of women overall in the workforce? That is a pertinent question we all ponder around. First of all, if we look the government statistics only pertaining to the topic of today's discussion, that only in R&D, if you see the latest official statistics as on 2022, the percentage of women in R&D is 16.6%. Among total number of scientists working directly in R&D in science and technology organizations in the country, in India. So if we talk about direct R&D, all those institutes like CSIR, DRDO, ISRO, all those only in government sector, it is only 16.6% as in 22. And of course, the situation is better in private sector. An R&D activity in the private sector in the country has a larger proportion of women compared to the government-supported agencies, even as men continue to dominate in the private sector also, but the situation is better in the private sector organizations. Now, these statistics brings into focus the absence of participation of women in the greater domain of R&D across the country. I am talking about the context of India particularly. In the global, maybe a little better, but Indian context, if we consider, this is the scenario as of now. But if we look about the science stream and undergraduate level of female participation, around 51.7% of students in science stream at the undergraduate and 48.3% against 48.3% of males in undergraduate education. That is the statistics of percentage of participation of women. That means enrolled students in science is better than male as in female. And similarly at postgraduate level, if we see, and PhD level, the representation of women in science streams is respectively 63.4% and at PhD level 48.4%. That is the statistics. So it has posed a very big question. If that is the participation of women in undergraduate, postgraduate, up to PhD level, as compared to males, then what happens when it comes to R&D? So this gap, we need to basically investigate into the reasons why this wide gap exists even today. Even after educating women to up to that level of PhD, why after that, as persisting as a career in R&D, it's missing to the expected level. So that question is a large question we have to, as a society, we have to ponder. Now in IITs, because I have been involved in the education, not directly R&D organization if I look into, but IIT, Indian Institute of Technology also can be considered as partly as R&D organization, because along with teaching in academics, we have a large participations in R&D. So basically teaching and research both are the focus in IIT. If we look into the scenario in IIT today, we have to ensure 20% of female across the institute in all disciplines because of the initiative from the government of India. So supernumerary only female seats, 20% has been ensured. We have to admit. So as that proactive decision of the government, now the situation is better because 20% we have to minimum level of participation of women in BTech. I'm talking about in BTech is 20% minimum. So as on today in IIT, because I am the Dean of Academics, the statistics is in front of me, around 24% is women or female participation, or BTech students, girl students, as of now in IITGuwahati I'm talking about. Similarly, if we look into female participation as faculty members, not beyond 20% faculty members in any department in IITGuwahati is having women. So this is a broader question everybody has in mind. Why after so much of proactive initiatives from the government of India as well as many organizations are also having accumulated effort to bring in more and more participations of female into the science or even R&D, but things are not so good even today. Now, another question which comes to my mind, every year, if you see the results, every year girls do better than boys. In science as well as art stream, both, if we see the class 10, class 12 results, we always find that girls are performing better than boys. And in this one institute, if you take into consideration, in the same institute, in many institutions, we see that majority of the toppers are girls. And then what happens? Then what happens after that? Do they drop out? Or are they forced to make their choices from their families? The choices may not be their own choices. So are there compulsions from the family to make a particular choice because of the convenience will be later on as a girl in her life, have to compromise on career, which may not be to her liking, but she is given the choice by others and she has to comply. Is it so? Or do they fail to get through the competition? which is very tough nowadays, even for an entrance examination, suppose, for example, in IITG Advanced, when they compete with boys, is it the disadvantage which they are facing for various reasons? Or are they faced to make pragmatic choices about the future because they are conditioned to believe that marriage and family come first? So, keeping that in mind, after some years, a girl will be married, she will be having her own family. Keeping that in mind in the backdrop, with respect to that, how they will be convenient in what career? Is it at the backdrop, it is acting on that to take a decision which career she will be taking up finally in her life. So that is one question which comes to mind. So is there no way to balance their commitments to the family with the desire to follow a career? She has to always compromise between making a choice of her, making a choice in her career according to her wish, and the commitment to the family in her personal life, which one will be dominating her choice? I mean, which way she will have to compromise? Is it so? So these reasons, if we analyze, I mean, as a society, I mean, how conducive we are to let a girl carry on in her life, taking the career as per her choice, irrespective of all other concerns. Are they free to do so? The small number of women in R&D appears to be partly due to the social pressure. This is my opinion. My view is that it may be partly due to the social pressure on women to have a family which is seen as incompatible with a professional career. Throughout her life, she will have to, one way or other way, she will have to compromise on some front in order to keep a balance between her family and her career. So that may be one reason, because partly that commitment to family, commitment to her personal life comes first, which may not be the priority, on the other hand, for a male. And it comes naturally that a woman, the role of a mother cannot be replaced by a father because of natural reasons. So obviously, the girl is also tuned to the fact that ultimately the commitment to family comes to her first. Now, all these reasons may be contributing to ultimately make a choice in career in R&D. And the women who are excelling, we have leading women figures in doing R&D excellently. For example, Dr. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, Tessie Thomas, and a number of such leading personalities are there who have excelled in their chosen field of R&D. These are exemplary figures, but even though there are exemplary figures in India doing excellently well in R&D, still the wider participation of the women force is not visible even today. Although Government of India has initiated many proactive schemes, Women in Science, R&D, DST has even, Power Women, all these career enhancement or advancement programs are there in place. But still, it is a microscopic minority of women researchers we find who are basically able to leverage out of this benefit. Now, what is the way? So these may be typically societal reasons. Because we are following patriarchal society, naturally, there are obvious reasons, which in one generation it is difficult to overcome. But the mentality or the attitude of society, although they are changing, they are advancing nowadays, equal participation of men in the domain of women and household work also are coming. But it requires the upbringing in the minds of the boys right from their childhood, and it can happen only at home, I feel. The training, the tradition, values which are inculcated in a child as it is from the childhood, the home is the first place. So it's a duty, I think, of the parents to bring up a boy in the same way that we expect him to behave in future towards his sister, towards his wife in later life. So equal participation of male and women in all domains of life is paramount to bring out a change in society. That is my opinion. So the way forward, we have to think as a society, it cannot be brought alone by the government schemes. That is my gut feeling. That is my belief. Even though we can give incentives, we can have a number of schemes for women researchers, for women scientists, for education, etc. But ultimately, the mindset of the people, mindset of our own children, boys should change and be compassionate to girls in the same equal footing it should be. Otherwise, even though a number of schemes may be there in offer, but if the mentality or attitude does not change, ultimately it's very difficult to bring in that change. So the way forward is that the inequalities in the gender participation in science, if I talk about only science, they emanate from social economic issues, which can be treated by bringing behavioral changes. So behavioral changes, attitudinal changes, these are the main factors which I believe will go a long way in changing the status of the of women in any fact. Or R&D may be one domain, but it is not only R&D, I feel, in every work domain. Every domain of our life or even society, this will not change until these socio-economic issues are dealt with. And also, another avenue, another way may be better political representation of women, because policy changes, policy decisions are made in the politically. So representation of women will be more impactful if women representatives are there in the policy making. So it will be a long way to deconstruct the stereotype of women. The stereotyping of women, if we have to break that stereotyping, there are needs of policy decisions, definitely. So they go hand in hand. Societal attitudinal change plus the policy decisions should be complementing one another. It's not on one alone. I feel so. And better workforce participation can only be brought by collective effort of the society and the people in governance. They should go hand in hand. Governance is doing its best. As I see, the schemes and the policies of government are very, very pro-women nowadays. They are basically having all the schemes, etc. They are giving to women, and they are basically very good schemes are now available to further or to enhance the career goal of women. That is there. There is no doubt about the seriousness with which the government of India is making policies to become women friendly. But as I said, this is not enough for us to basically bring a change and break the stereotypes. The societal attitude is very, very important, and it is the main factor, I feel. And growth in jobs must be inclusive, and new jobs need to be secure with better work conditions, including social security benefits. And even if I talk about women working in the workforce late at night, because R&D is such a demanding career, there is no time-bound 9 to 5. It is not a 9 to 5 job. Women, even men, have to work without any fixed timing in R&D. So it is important how that environment is provided by the organization or the society. Both I am talking together. Because even if we want to, suppose the woman has to work late at night, what is the security? So being vulnerable, women needs that extra care and security from the organization or from the society. So that how much we are able to provide. So that work conditions, safety, security of women come, and this actually is paramount in career, not only in R&D, but R&D is basically the timing is not fixed. And there also comes how the balance in the personal and the professional life is made by the woman when they have to work beyond fixed timings. So these all ultimately come to the cooperation and support from the family members, apart from the social security aspect that we have to look into. So the issue of family commitments, particularly child rearing, and that is perceived as a foremost and major barrier. And as such, it has received considerable attention. But there are many more things to do, because the bearing and rearing of the child is one first major issue that may come in the way of a woman progressing in her career. But naturally, it will be always there. The mother will be coming first for childbearing, of course, and rearing. So how we will be basically helping a woman to go through that phase of life and pass it without compromising much on her career. That is one aspect we all have to look into. So there is, for example, in government organizations or even private organizations, there is this facility or this scope of leaving and coming back that is not available. Nowadays, of course, CCL, child care leave, is there up to 2 years it can take, but it is even difficult in private organizations. So leaving the job and continuing in the same pace to advance in her career, whenever she will be better suited to come back after going through that phase of life of the initial tender years of the child, which she is only to provide, she has to provide that all child care support to the child. That phase, even if we take about 2 years or 3 years, is it possible for even a private organization to give that, let her leave that period and come back again, but start at the same position where she left? But unfortunately, that type of scope, still it is very difficult. So what I will be liking to hear from other distinguished panel members. They are basically experts in their field and organizations and issues. So I would also like to hear from them more. But as I can see in my general observations and feeling about this issue is that more family-friendly work environment is the first necessary basic requirement for a woman to persist in her career and advance. And compulsory equal sharing of leave by both parents during childbirth. That is basically both the parents have to share their responsibility during the childbirth. So not only the mother, because ultimately the mother is taking care. Of course, it is naturally also mother is the best suited for this child care. But then equal sharing is necessary, support and cooperation from the husband for the wife. That is the most important factor for a woman to continue in her career. And training boys to make them more competent to look after their future families. We have to inculcate in the boys from the very beginning of their life, the early life, inculcate in the training the compassion they should have for females. Because ultimately, if they are trained in their early childhood, they will carry it in their whole life. And we can expect him to be a better individual, compassionate to women, feeling for women, and support and cooperation, which ultimately is paramount for his family life, indirectly to help his family, including his wife, to advance in the goals they are basically pursuing. Ultimately what I feel, the government organization, private organizations have to basically look into the policy. Basically in the childbearing and rearing phase, if that crucial period a woman can continue her career with equal pace, and later on she can adjust. But during that phase, the family support, husband supports, compassion, cooperation is basic necessity for the woman to move forward. All this, it is my observations only and my feelings, my opinion. With this, I conclude. I would like to hear from the other panel members more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for helping us become aware of the problems and the ways we can solve them. Yes, she's one, a decision maker, one of the women in high places in the institute, and such encouraging words from her really give us a lot of hope. And I really wish the way she concluded with by asking for a policy change as far as very real problems that women face, and specifically women in R&D is, I hope, those can be taken forward and changes can come. So now I would like to invite Srimati Preeti Kumari, Assistant Commissioner Kamrup, to share her opinion on the topic women in R&D.
Respected Dr. Hazarika, Professor Mahanta, and the audience. So, good morning to all of you. When Vimal Katiyar sir approached me to be part of this panel, I asked him, I know that you know that I'm an engineer, but do you know how bad I am? That I chose to switch to economics and then chose a job in administration. That is how bad I am at engineering. But you still choose to call me here to speak on women in R&D. So that is how bad I am. So I asked him, do you know how many codes I can write? I do know Java, but I think Hello World is the first code I will be able to write. So if others who are not from computer science, that is the first code that teacher teaches you. The moment he enters the class, he's like, chalo, let's start with a code, and this is the first code that you will write. So that is my level in engineering. But still I am here to speak on the topic. So I would break down the topic into parts, which is women and R&D. So we hear a lot of women who are very, very successful, prolific personalities in their own domains. You have geologists, you have astronauts like Kalpana Chawla, you have a geologist like Pant, you have doctors like Indrani Hinduja. You have some very, very prolific women scientists, doctors. But why do we choose to only celebrate a few rather than celebrating each other? Every teacher, if we broaden the scope of R&D, every teacher who has taught us science when we were in school, when we were in class 5th, that has also facilitated this R&D that we are sitting here and discussing. Their demeanor, their focus on science, what the qualities that they instilled in us, that has shaped our careers, that has shaped the way we think about science and R&D. So from first day when we begin our classes, or maybe our parents, when they talk about science and R&D, that has also shaped us. So we should rather celebrating a very limited few people whom we know. We should celebrate each other. Each one of the women, each one of you who are sitting here represent that cohort who's going to contribute in the science. I would always like to broaden the horizon. Look at how bad I am at engineering. So I would always like to broaden the scope to science, not just to R&D. To all the women who are sitting here, you are going to contribute to science in one way or the other. All your seniors, when you join, once you get placed, your seniors at your offices, they are representative of this cohort. Your professors are representative of this cohort. They are facilitating, they are advancing science and R&D in the country and also in the world when you only are going to be the brains to move out and work in other countries. So coming to the topic, which is women first. So every woman has a story. Actually, every human has a story. But women's stories are a little different. But I would like to be optimistic because ma'am has already covered a lot on women and their challenges. So I would restrict on what are the challenges of women. But if you just lend your ears to women colleagues or anybody you meet who are in the same profession, or you happen to meet somebody from other profession, you would notice that they actually have different stories, then you would even imagine their challenges, their shortcomings, their issues are much different than what you could fathom. Because apart from 10 different problems, they have to deal with 2 and 5 more problems, which are because of a lot of issues that we should not be entering into, because let's keep it to women in R&D. But let's be optimistic that these challenges over a period of time subside for all of us, and we are able to better focus on things that matter. Now coming to R&D, so as I initially also mentioned, let's broaden the scope to science rather than R&D. So in my opinion, since I am standing in front of the brains who have contributed, created, or are going to work on building systems, building structures, building technologies that are going to impact the lives of everybody, not just women, but everybody. For example, we have cryptocurrencies. Unless and until we utilize the scope of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology in solving the problem of remote banking, it gets restricted to only one area. So because I am an administrator, so I will always talk about facilitating R&D for solving the problem of people. And because I'm standing in front of people who are going to work on R&D, so I would only request you all to also look for solving the problems that are not so obvious to you. You may have never faced the problem of clean water because it is always available. You study in an institution where everything is readily available. But you cannot imagine the challenges that people face in even accessing the smallest of things like clean water, banking. So when we utilize and leverage technology to solve these problems, then only we become better person, better women, better human. So as administrator, I would request all to think about technologies in solving the problem of people. We also have an endeavor we took up, but I think we throw open this challenge to everybody, including all the students of IIT. So we are working on self-help groups who are making pithas. But pitha, if all of you know what Assamese pitha is, it's a delicacy of Assam. It's made with rice and sugar. So, but its shelf life is very poor. You can't have it for more than 3 days. So if all of you can work on increasing the shelf life, keeping the taste intact, then we can think about maybe marketing it, branding it, and sending it to across the country and maybe world. So that is the problems. That are the problems that we should be working on, that we should be looking at. And so the purpose of research is that, to solve real-world problems. So that is all from my side. To all the women sitting here, cheers to you. To all the people who are working in science, thank you. Keep working, because my job is to facilitate. Unless you work, I have no job. Thank you.
So nice to hear from actually, what she's calling herself, and I also, a facilitator, because of the fact that R&D needs help, needs infrastructure, and the objective is, of course, development of society. But it also depends upon the role assigned to researchers, and how the research is taken forward is what facilitators like Smriti, like Preeti Kumari can do. So thank you so much for your speech. Now I would like to call upon Dr. Swapnali Hazarika, Principal Scientist. She is in R&D. Ma'am, if you could please come forward to, thank you.
Good morning, one and all present here. Thank you, Sukoina, for your brief introduction. So, respected panelists, Professor Chitralekha Mohanto, Preeti Kumari, IAS, all other eminent personalities present here, and my dear students. First of all, I am very much thankful to the organizers that they have given me this opportunity to take part in this type of important topic, women in R&D. So thank you all organizers. As Chitralekha Mohanto Madam said about the involvement of women in R&D sectors, 16.6% women directly involved in R&D in the establishment of our country. So, but share is not satisfactory, as you all know. What should we do? We have to reorganize this right from the elementary education. That is one thing. And she has given a brief report how much percentage of male and female involved in R&D sectors. According to report, 48.3% male involved in R&Ds and 51.7% female involved in R&D as on 2019-20 report. But you see the postgraduate level and PhD level, that is 63.4% female involved in R&D and 48.4% male involved. But if you see the direct involvement, directly how much percentage of women directly involved in R&D sectors, that is in R&D organizations in India, in Gov departments, 23,000 employed in R&D organizations. But out of these 23,000, only 10,000 involved directly in R&D. So this is very less amount. Out of 23 and 10,000. From my opinion, this is less amount. It can be increased. But same time, if we see the investment, first of all, I am giving this report and then I will go for discussion. So in case of investment, in R&D investment, that is in 2004 and 5, 120% more than private sectors. In 2004 and 5, that is 120% investment was more than private sectors. But now, that is very less amount investment is there in public sectors than in private sectors. That is the scenario. That's why now people, including women, they prefer private sector's job. And if, as I am one of the CSR organizations, so after doing excellent R&D work in this department or other departments, we have picked up some women leader for leading some of the CSR or other institutions. Till 2012, we did not have, in CSIR, did not have any women leader, that is women director. But in 2012, one director they have appointed, that is Professor Lakshmikantan. I think you all know about her. She is known as a catalytic person, catalytic researcher. So she already retired, and after that was beginning. After that this great organization, CSI organization, this organization has 38 laboratories all over the world. So in 38 laboratories, now in 4 CSI laboratories, 4 CSI laboratories led by women director. That is how they have occupied this position, because they have done excellent, outstanding R&D works, including managerial things. So this is the capability of women. We all should know. So one is from NISCARE, that is Professor Ranjana Agarwala. She is the director of NISCARE, present director. Then CFTRI Mysore, Central Food Technology Research Institute, Dr. Sridevi, Annapurna Sridevi, she is the director. And CGCRI, Central Glass and Ceramic Research Institute, she is Dr. Sumon, she is the director. And NIST Trivandrum, Dr. N. Kalaiselvi, she is the women director. So these 4 women directors are there in this department. And you know, in our country, I think a lot of women VC and professors are there. So everybody, how they have occupied that position, actually they have done their R&D in a level. So they deserve it. So, but you say how they have managed these things. This is only for girl students. From the school level, it is okay. They are definitely guided by the parents. Then college level, it is okay. They are getting matured. Then also some of them are guided by their parents and guardians. But after that, up to their marriage, that is okay, guided. Somehow they have been guided by their parents. But after marriage, how they are performing, that is very important. So in that case, after marriage, they have to come forward and they have to do lot of duties, their responsibilities. They have to take their responsibilities and they have to do it. But if all the girl students, particularly I am saying these things to our girl students, if they are, suppose they have completed their graduation, post-graduation, etc., but after marriage, if they will not manage something, they have to manage in the family things, and they have to manage in the official things, and they have to manage their things related to their career. So they have to be bold enough, then they have to be very responsible person. Then only their career may go forward. And from my opinion, they should not break the career after marriage also. You know, all know that after this corona pandemic, there are a lot of scopes. We can work from home also. So if something difficulties will come, then you can work from home. We have very good internet facility all over India or all over world. So we can take the opportunity, and we should be involved ourselves for our career enhancement. And you all know what are the programs already government programs they have declared. So a lot of government programs are there. You all know the Women Scientist Scheme under DST. There are a lot of 3 schemes, Women's WOSA, B and C. So there are a lot of scopes. You can go to the website. I think a lot of you all know that. So you can take the opportunity and you can discuss with your guide, or you can discuss whatever you like, some professors or scientists, everything you can discuss, and you can take suggestion. Even the coordinators of these schemes are very much approachable and also helpful, so you can talk or you can discuss with them also. I am telling these things because our all women girl students, they have to know the scopes. Nowadays, thing is that lot of scopes are programs are schemes are there under government, but All the students, they have not know what are the schemes going on, how to apply. Even foreign scholarship also, they can apply for Marie Curie fellowships. Lot of fellowships are there, they can apply to enhance their career. But one thing is that you have to be bold, you have to be strong. And you have to do hard work, because you see, you have to do, all our women, they have to do dual duty. In office, one duty, and in home, another duty. Family. In the family, you can't ignore it, because somebody, they are waiting for you to take a cup of tea from your hand. But you can't, you please don't expect anything, that somebody will give you a cup of tea after going from the office or college or university after doing some research work. You don't expect. If you will expect, then it will be very negative point, because you may not get that thing. That will hurt you. That will hurt you. So why you can expect some from somebody? You have to do yourself. Yeah, I am women, I am strong, and I will do both the side. In office also. But thing is that our time is less. Our time is less. Somebody in gents employee, suppose they can stay in office up to 12 o'clock, but we can't. Our time is less. We have to do work, I think, very less time in office, maximum up to 7. I am staying in office up to 7, not more than that. But I will go to office from every Saturday or Sunday or any holiday. I have to go, because I have a lot of students, I have to go. But in the home, I have to manage everything. I have managed. That strength is with me, and I suggest you that should be with you. Each of you has to be that strength to enhance your career, because you see your mothers, you see your fathers, your parents, you see, they in the mother's home, when you born and brought up there, then there are not a single parents, somebody will see the difference between girl student and boy students. They both are same for the parents. So you have to do what are the dreams are there. Dreams are there on you. So parents have dream on you. So you have to fulfill that dreams. You have to fulfill the dreams, and you for going to fulfill the dreams, you have to do hard work. So, and that much hard work, if you will do, then you will be reaching somewhere, you will get a position, then you will be established. So these are the things, and in this type of panel discussion, actually we should have some government representative. Yes, Priti Kumari Madam is there, because this type of discussions, minute, it should not be here only, inside the auditorium. It should go to the government level, because policymakers should know these things, that what are the discussions held there in this particular event. So that should be sent to them, because they should be familiar with this type of discussions. And my request to the organizers, that we can start it from the NERC itself. We can start it from NERC itself. You please report, you please record how many women participants are there in this conference, and how many of them participated in the technical session. How many women invitees are there and delivered invited speak here, invited lecture here. Those should be reported. Actually, those, if they will report this, they will publish this, then it will go to the society, and it will give encouragement to all of the girl students as well as women employees. We should start it from NERC itself. This conference, this event itself, it's a big event. So I am happy that this important session they have organized. So this is very good to know, and I am very much happy to participate here. And in R&D also, so this is R&D, this type of R&D, we have to be involved. Even in medical science, if some students will go to medical science, engineering science, or basic science, fundamental science, they have to be involved in R&D for enhancing their career. And for this type of enhancement, for career enhancement, as I told earlier, that we should be strong and bold enough. And I will not tell you about the society, because society can say many things. Because society actually, it will come individually. Because if society will not be positive, then every person will suffer. Because I have girl students, or we have girl students. So if society will not reform, then after 20 years, my girl student will suffer. After 30 years, somebody's girl student will suffer. So society should be reformed, and it should go from our individual. So this is my view. So thank you all.
These are words from a practitioner to call, like we had facilitator and administrator, so this was a very good combination of the session. A big thank you to the four presenters, Professor Chitra Lekha Mahantab, Smriti Priti Kumari, Dr. Swapnali Hazarika, for finding time amidst the busy schedule and coming and sharing their opinion about women in R&D. And of course, there are concerns that they have highlighted, and how actually NERC 2022 can contribute in further advancing or taking forward this opinion to bring about policy changes which makes which gives recognition and creates a conducive environment for women to participate in R&D activities in India. So with this, I would like to conclude this session, Women in R&D, and would like to thank Dean R&D for taking this initiative and giving us, or women, a space. As a woman, I'm saying this, and considering these efforts which need recognition. So thank you so much, and it was a pleasure listening to all the participants, and thanks to the audience also. Your presence is important for a session of like this. There are many school children, so I would like you to carry back the words and the opinion shared by our esteemed panelist, and maybe motivate you further for continuing in or taking up research as a career for development of society. Thank you so much. So now would like to start the next session, which is the award ceremony for Women Faculty Researcher Award 2022. So yeah, I think Dr. Swapnali Hazarika and Priti Kumari can kindly take their seat in the audience. And Professor Mahanta, who was also part of the award selection committee, can continue to be in the dais. Thank you so much. You got your bag? Yeah, it's there. Be there. Now, I would like to call upon Professor T.G. Sitharam, Director IITGuwahati, to please come to the dais. Yeah, a formal beginning. We will begin by a brief felicitation of Director Sir as part of the event. This is for the first time that IIT has initiated a Women Faculty Research Award, and it's quite encouraging, motivating for women faculty researcher, and the steps taken by the institute in this field is really inspirational. And I'm sure in the long run, it will be it'll add to the eminence and the development of the institute. With this brief words, I would like to call upon our director, sir, to kindly give us a brief about the background of the award and also declare the award. Sir, yeah.
We have to announce the name also, no?
Yeah, you just the background and maybe announce the name.
Sure.
Then she will read the citation. Read the citation.
Yeah. Very good morning to all of you. Again, a warm welcome for this award ceremony for the IIT-Guwahati Women Faculty Research and Innovation Award. Friends, all of you will agree with me that women always has made an important scientific discoveries in different modes of life, not only in the research and development. It could be at home, it could be bringing up the children, bringing up the family, and also to her professional career. In all professions, women are always excelling in taking the initiative, acting it with resilience, practicing self-development, driving for research and innovations. And today we are actually looking at their contribution in science and technology within IIT-Guwahati. The women faculty members' contribution at IIT-Guwahati is enormous, I should tell you. My entire academic is headed by Professor Chitralekha Mahanta for the last 2.5 years, really brought in many new opportunities for the entire nation. And we have started new programs, new schools, new academic programs, new schools, new centers. And yesterday you also witnessed that we are also starting a new hospital. So we have also made a policy at the institute that we will have a woman faculty member in every committee. Institute is very serious about involving women in every activity, and also their contribution, I say, it's equal or more than the other members. So today we have assembled here to award a woman faculty for the research and innovation. Basically, we are looking at the lifetime contribution for the research and innovation at IIT Guwahati. This scheme actually is the first time we are trying to do this. First time we are trying to award, but this will be an annual event for IIT Guwahati, which I have made a big committee. They came up with a procedure how to select, and the eligibility was like this: research and innovation contribution in terms of research publications, projects, patents, technology transfers, collaborations, entrepreneurship, research and innovation related resource generation to the institute, bringing visibility of research to outside stakeholders by delivering keynote or invited lectures, member of recognized national and international scientific committees will be the criterion for the selection of this award. A faculty member will be awarded once during her service at IIT Guwahati. That means they cannot again get the same award. There will be only one award per year to be given to the faculty for the outstanding research and innovation contributions at IIT Guwahati. The committee is also formed. The committee was headed by the director, and then Dean of Academic Affairs, Professor Mahanta, was the member, Dean of Faculty Affairs, and Dean of Industry, Interaction and Special Initiative, and Dean of R&D were the member. The selection procedure was IIT Guwahati faculty member can self-nominate herself or can be nominated by any professor for the award with all the supporting documents as per the eligibility criterion, and nomination to be sent to the office of the Dean R&D. The award committee will examine the nomination and select the nomination for the award. Award generally, we would like, actually you have used the NERC 2022 as an occasion to do it, but maybe next year onwards we might award on a Women's Day, International Women's Day. So we will anyway decide that. The award grant is about rupees 3 lakhs, which will be allocated and registered at IIT Guwahati Women Faculty Research and Innovation Award grant in the R&D section, so that they can use it for their research, travel, and whatever they would like to do for augmenting their technical collaborations. So this award is the first time after 27 years, institute has instituted this award for the recognizing women. And I should accept that, number of faculty is a very small number. But this is not by choice, because here it's all by, they have to apply, they have to qualify, and they have to get in. So, but we try to recognize their contribution to the institute through this award. And what I would like to say, I think they are no way less than any man. They have done exceedingly well, and with many applications we received and many nominations we received, finally we have selected Professor Lata Rangan, Professor of Bioscience Bioengineering. Please give her a big applause. I will request Professor Chittaleka Mahanta to read her the contributions, okay, citation for her. Professor Lata Rangan, you can come up and maybe please be seated here.
Respected Professor T.G. Sitaram, Director IIT Guwahati, Professor Lata Rangan, recipient of the Women Faculty Award, Women Scientist Award from IIT Guwahati, and ladies and gentlemen, I would like to read about a brief profile of Professor Lata Rangan. She is an FNASC and FBRS Fellows. Professor Lata Rangan is Senior Professor in the Department of Biosciences and Bioengineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati, India. Her areas of research are applied biodiversity using an integrative approach that has helped in tapping bioresources from wilderness in mining omics. Professor Rangan has played a key role in plant biotechnology and sustainable development, and especially in the areas of energy security, food security, and medicinal crops. Professor Rangan and her team has recently initiated research to take a step forward to estimate and compare the genome size of different non-edible oil-yielding biofuel crops and suggest the model crop for next generation sequencing and genomic diversity studies. Professor Rangan's research group is also trying to address the research questions in data mining and molecular systematics with special reference to bioresources of the northeast of India. Professor Rangan is the recipient of Young Scientist Award of Indian Society of Chemists and Biologists, Dr. R.B. Ekbote Award for contribution in agriculture, cytogenetics, and plant breeding by Maharashtra Associate for Cultivation of Science. She is also the recipient of Women Scientist Award of Biotech Research Society of India, and also Professor Hiralal Chakraborty Award instituted by Indian Science Congress Association. She has been to different countries like America and Germany on DBT overseas and DAD faculty exchange programs. Professor Rangan is member of the editorial board of Agriculture and Food Security Journal of Springer. She has guided 13 doctoral students, 17 master students, and more than 20 bachelor students. She has published over 129 peer-reviewed journal papers, book chapters, and conference proceedings, articles, and general articles as well. Professor Rangan has also played a vital role in the research and extension programs of IITGuwahati and has diverse interests. She was among very first few at IITGuwahati to raise issues on IPR and biosafety. Her strong inclination towards the area enabled her to get a major grant from the MHRD to conduct a regional workshop on IPR, first of its kinds at IITGuwahati. As a principal investigator, Professor Rangan has successfully handled many research projects which are funded by the central government organizations like the Department of Biotechnology, Department of Science and Technology, Department of Information Technology, and CSIR. Professor Rangan has organized many workshops on various fields such as tools in bioresources conservation, intellectual property rights, and 13th Indo-US flow cytometry workshop organized at IITGuwahati along with the University of Miami, USA, to motivate the young researchers and towards capacity building. Professor Rangan is a fellow of several societies and academics, namely National Academy of Sciences, India, Biotech Research Society of India, and National Academy of Biological Sciences, etc. The Professor Lata Rangan is the recipient of this year's Women Researcher Award by IITGuwahati, and I wish a long, prolific research career ahead for her. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Respected Director, Sir, Professor T.G. Sitaram, respected Professor Chitralekha Mahanta, Dean of Academic Affairs, and everyone sitting here who have come for this session. which was really a very exciting one, that is Women in R&D. Well, I'm really highly, deeply humbled and also greatly honored to receive this first ever Women Researcher Award in R&D and in innovation. And that too, it's all the more happy moment for me because receiving an award from your own parent institution, nothing can match to that. So I would like to thank the selection committee, especially our director, Sir Professor T.G. Sitaram, who has been the brainchild, who flagged off and initiated this activity so as to recognize the efforts which the women faculty have put towards the development of the research, progress of the research in IIT Guwahati. So my sincere thanks to the entire selection committee that they considered me to be worthy enough to receive this award that has been constituted by IIT Guwahati. So thank you very much. Well, I think everyone has their journey, a story to speak as far as the progress that has been made in the area of research and development. And so my story is no less than that, but today is not the day to talk about that. All I would say is that I think it was all possible because of the support, constant encouragement, the motivation which we got, and there have been many players who have contributed to that. So if I'm receiving this award, I think there are many who have contributed successfully towards that. And I just want to briefly mention, I think it's all because of my highly dedicated research team, the ones who have passed out, the ones who are continuing. So they have been the bricks and pillars to enable me to construct this house or the arena as far as the research and development is concerned. So they have been the strong pillars, they have been the guiding force, and they are the ones who have contributed, enabled me, allowed me to take and bag this particular award on their behalf. I have been only a kind of a cementing material. Thanks also to my department of Biosciences and Bioengineering. Thanks to all my colleagues, my collaborators, for giving that kind of a support, for being very understanding, for collaborating on the frontier areas of research and development, and to encourage. And I think lastly, it is also because of the support which has been rendered by the institutions, the directors of the institute, all the administrators, authorities, especially the authorities who are holding the portfolios of the research and the development. So I think the contributions of each one of them has been very immense, and that has allowed us, especially the female faculties, to take and steer the research in the directions with utmost freedom, flexibility and liberty, and also to become a part of these institutions in building it to the greater heights. So thank you very much, and thanks a lot.
Now I would like to call upon Professor Beg to give the vote of thanks.
Respected Director Sir Professor T.G. Sitaram, respected Professor Mohanta Madam, respected Sukunda Ma'am, and dear colleagues who are assembled here in the very important session, Women in R&D, as well as in the award ceremony of IIT Guwahati Women Faculty Research and Innovation Award. Being the co-convener of this NERC conclave, I feel proud that this award we could host in this conclave. It was our proposal, and Director Sir was very kind to accept it that, okay, we should go ahead to give this award in this conclave. For that, I, from core of my heart and from our research and development section, are grateful to you, sir. Madam, Mahanta Madam, we are also grateful to be here taking part in this award giving ceremony. Madam Latarangan, for your achievement, we are grateful, we are proud, and our faculty colleague, students, particularly women students and faculty colleagues, will be sensitized, motivated with your inspirations, whatever you have shown through your research and development innovations works throughout your till today's career. Thank you all of you, and I would like to thank Professor Sukanda Madam for taking forward this session very nicely, and the participants I would like to thank on behalf of the organizing committee of NERC 2020 to successfully conduct this session, Women in R&D. Jai Hind, Namaskar. Namaskar.